here, and we're respectfully trying to address. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Distinguished gentleman yields back his time. Distinguished gentleman from Florida, Mr. Frost, recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Federal agencies carry out critical missions of all kinds, protecting us from those who wish to do us harm, keeping our food free from contamination, finding cures for deadly viruses, getting Americans the checks that they deserve. The federal government must remain open, operational, and ready to serve the American people, even in the most turbulent of times. That means not shutting down the government. That means properly funding Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. That means setting up federal employees to administer those benefits to our constituents. Every member of Congress should recognize the damage that's done when the government cannot operate. Deputy Assistant Secretary Levitt, what is COOP or COOP, and why is it important?
Continuity of operations is absolutely critical for us to be able to move ahead through any type of a crisis, such as the pandemic. And it was thanks to the practice of telework and those flexible opportunities that we were able to sustain operations through the pandemic and even increase outcomes. So with regards to efficiency and effectiveness, 1-800-Medicare. We reduced wait times and increased customer satisfaction up to 95% compared to prior to the pandemic. Telework readiness, workplace flexibilities matter for the customers we serve.
And in 2010, there was a Republican majority in the House of Representatives. They passed a piece of legislation entitled the Telework Enhancement Act. Can you talk a little bit about that?
That work recognized the importance of flexibilities in supporting continuity of operations and how workplace flexibilities support not just the workplace, but performance overall. And for example, for us as a Department of Health and Human Services, we're proud to consistently be ranked as one of the best places to serve in the federal government for large agencies. And there is a correlation between employee engagement and the attention to employee well-being and the performance and the results that we're able to deliver. Workplace flexibilities matter in delivering well-being engagement for the workforce and their ability to perform and be productive in support of all Americans.
And in that piece of legislation passed by the Republican majority, correct me if I'm wrong, but it required telework to be a part of the continuity of operations plan. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
To all of our witnesses, briefly, I'd like to know how the Telework Enhancement Act helped your agencies continue operations when the pandemic hit. We can start with Mr. McKinley.
Thank you for the question. The telework regime that we put in place in the Telework Enhancement Act allowed us to continue operations seamlessly to provide the Social Security Administration beneficiaries with the services they needed throughout the course of the pandemic. It was invaluable.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. For USAID, telework was important prior to the pandemic, and it continued to be important, in fact, vital during the pandemic and beyond.
Of course, thank you.
And telework remains absolutely fundamental in workplace flexibilities overall for our ability to serve.
Thank you.
I think similar to my colleagues, it allowed us to quickly deploy our workforce to maintain our operations and avoid any significant disruptions to our mission essential functions.
Thank you. So telework has been a fact of government for decades, and it's been implemented with bipartisan support. Access to telework helps us keep our government open. Mr. McKinley, at the Social Security Administration, does telework mean that you can reduce office space?
Thank you for the question. I believe the hybrid work environment does allow us to optimize space, and in certain cases, we can redirect those savings into serving more people.
And at just this one agency on property alone, how much would you say that y'all have saved?
Over the last 10 years, $60 million in police cost avoidance, and we anticipate another 35 million years in the next 4 years.
And according to the GSA, because of telework on property alone, more than $1 billion in taxpayer money has been saved over just 2 years because of telework. We need to ensure that federal workers can get the job done, particularly when during a crisis like a pandemic, whether it's local, regional, or global. Telework is one tool in the toolbox, one tool to maintain continuity and attract cutting-edge talent. And many of my colleagues believe that the country should be run like a business. Another question, do top businesses and tech companies utilize telework to boost efficiency and attract talent? Anybody?
Yes, and that's one reason why workplace flexibilities are very important for us to compete and participate in what is a very competitive labor market today and well into the future.
Yeah, I remember speaking with NASA about this, the fact that SpaceX has one of the most robust telework policies in that industry. And Elon's their boy. So, you know, I mean, would like to see us continue to support that. To equate telework to laziness is both disrespectful to federal employees who are doing their jobs every day to ensure that our constituents can get what they need, and shows an inability to actually solve the real problems that our federal agencies face. There are problems, and we need to fix them, but this is not the way. Thank you so much. I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Gentleman yields back his time. The gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Timmons, recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for being here today.